and will not be in attendance today.
Okay, thank you so much. I'll make note of that.
Hi, Lynn.
Good morning, Janelle. What's that?
Just saying good morning.
Good morning.
Hey, Cassie,
Hello?
Commissioner Meyer is here as well.
Oh, great. Good morning, Commissioner Meyer. Can you hear us okay?
Yeah. How about, can you hear me?
Yes, sound good.
Hey, Eric, can you sound check too in case you're called on to do those updates?
I will be called on to do those updates, so sound checking right now. Thank you. I'm still working on actual video. I might have a problem here.
It's not the end of the world if you don't have video today.
That's a good point. Cassie, I think I'm gonna just try mine too, just to make sure. Hello there.
Yes, looks great.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Janelle and Cassie, just FYI, when I came into Zoom, it still has that sort of landing page like text that says Commission Executive Director Virtual Interviews, etc.
Thank you for catching that. Hey, Lynn, would you be able to go in the meeting and remove that? Or
Obviously, we'll need something like that on the 9th, right? But
right.
But anyway, for now, no. Yeah.
Yes, thank you very much. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. We will get that.
Hey, I know how to do that now. I could go to. Just kidding. Thanks to Janelle empowering me to be a host level player for a minute.
Yeah.
Hey, we aim to please. We aim to please. Just thank you for doing it.
No, it worked out well for our sessions up until now, and I know it'll be great on the unbelievable day of the 9th. It's going to be complicated, but going to go great.
It will go wonderfully. I can tell you that I've been working on it since 4:30 this morning. And yeah, it'll be a good conversation today. And I feel really good. We're in a great place.
Nice. We'll be tempted to call it a marathon for us, but the marathon is what you've done, Janelle, to get ready for it.
You know, it's kind of fun, so it's all good.
Commissioner Lytle, I saw you popped in and popped out. Do you want to just check your audio again?
Hey there.
Hey.
Back on my phone, so I'll make this work.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Morning, Cassie.
Good morning, President Hobble.
See, I had to join by registering. I haven't had to do that in a long time. I don't know what the issue was.
Yeah, so we did end up turning that back on just for mainly for when we do hybrid meetings, just make sure we are able to track who's joining.
Okay,
But we can certainly adjust that for virtual meetings going forward
well, that's
to make it
fine. I
easier.
just didn't know. It just takes more time.
It's
Right.
Commissioner Hubble, it's Amanda. It's also a security feature, so.
Yeah, okay.
yeah.
Well, now that I know when we have virtual meetings, I'll probably have to register. That's fine. I just wasn't expecting to because it's basically 8 o'clock now. Do we have a quorum yet?
Let's see
We have Ken,
here.
Dan, Greg, Brad, and Beth. And Pat, Ezra, and okay. Yeah, so I think we do.
Yes, and
Okay.
Commissioner Rummel is not going to be in attendance.
Yeah,
so
I
she
just
didn't-
saw that on the email. Yeah, thank you for
Okay.
providing that. Okay. Well, I have 8 o'clock, so I'll call the meeting to order. And I'm trying to get the gallery view to work here. Everything's kind of messed up today. Okay. So I was expecting to use the laptop my iPad wasn't working real well, so I have to go to sorry about that. So I got to open up the agenda because I had the agenda open on my laptop, and now it wouldn't let me register on the iPad, so I got to open up the thing. If you can go to the next item is the virtual meeting guidance, Cassie.
Yes, sounds great. Well, good morning, commissioners, members of the public and staff. To help us have a smooth meeting, I'm going to review just a few decorum rules for all. Please ensure your mic is muted unless you are speaking. Please state your name before speaking. And additionally, for those who are speaking, please have your cameras on if possible. You may turn your cameras off if you experience any technological challenges. And as a reminder, the public chat has been disabled, but you can still send a message to the host. And this meeting is also being recorded and streamed live on YouTube. With that, thank you for following the meeting guidance, and let's have a great meeting.
Okay, well, welcome to all of our guests. Bill, did you have any announcements?
No announcements.
Okay. And I'm trying to get the proper screen view here. Okay, let's see here. Welcome to Travis Ruland, an accountant. So Dana Reed, you're gonna lead this off.
Yes, good morning, Commission. I'm Dana Reed, Director of Enterprise Services, and I'm happy to welcome Travis Ruland to the district. Travis started as a contractor in the accounting area last spring, helping us with accounts payable and our audit preparation. And we're happy to add him to our accounting team full-time. Travis was born and raised in the Madison area, but he spent too many traffic jammed years in Los Angeles, as he'll say. So he's worked both in Wisconsin, at the state of Wisconsin, and Epic, and at various Hollywood production studios. He loves Wisconsin sports, pugs, and knows a lot about movies and TV, as you can imagine. So please join me in welcoming Travis.
Okay, welcome, Travis. Enjoy your tenure with the district. Let's see, that'll take us to the consent calendar where we have the minutes of the 14th of November, cash statement operating, review and approval of the sanitary sewer extension plan. That's I believe the only one was for a street reconstruction project, and approved transaction amount 2024 Metro hauling contract. So we have any questions on any of those items before we get a motion? Any questions? Okay, I don't see any hands up, so we'll move to have a motion to approve the consent calendar.
I'll make that motion, Tom. Commissioner Clark.
Second, Commissioner Meyer.
Okay, was that a motion by Commissioner Clark and second by Commissioner Meyer?
Yes.
Okay. To approve the consent calendar, all those in favor say aye.
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 Okay. that will take us to topics where we have the resolution authorizing the issuance of up to $16,262,834 general obligation sewage system promissory notes, Series 2024B, and providing for other details and covenants with respect thereto. This is a clean water fund loan. You might get confused by the general obligation, but it's actually a clean water fund loan. So Bill, do you have anything you want to add on this or a presentation?
There's no real presentation. The reason it's here as a topic is we need a roll call vote for it.
Okay. So we need a roll call vote. I believe it was pump station 17, if I remember
Yes.
reading correctly.
And force main work.
For basically activities related to pump station 17. We're through the design process. Okay, anybody have any questions? Seeing none, do we have a motion to approve the resolution authorizing the issuance of the general obligation sewage system promissory notes?
This is Murphy. I'll move approval of the resolution.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Murphy. Do we have a second?
Commissioner Freeze, I'll second that.
Okay, motion by Commissioner Freeze, motion by Commissioner Murphy, second by Commissioner Freeze. Do we have any other questions or comments before we move to the vote?
Tom, I'm
Ezra, you got one?
curious. Yeah, curious quickly. Did this one come in where we need to meet Buy America, Build America requirements, or was it after there's really no way around that and you've got to meet all those requirements?
This is Lisa Coleman. I can answer that. This one was still in the window when we did not need to comply with that.
Okay. I know we'll see other kinds of projects that we might be considering other funding for, but 2.24% or whatever, I just lost it, but pretty incredible rate. And yeah, and a big project. So sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions? Good question, Ezra. Any others? Seeing none, Cassie, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Bookland,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Freeze,
Aye.
Commissioner Hobble,
Aye.
Commissioner Lytle, Commissioner Lytle,
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy,
Aye.
Commissioner Pulse.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you all. So that takes us to the recommendations on the executive director search. And I've got to go to the other, switch to standard view. So we're not meeting on the Badger Mill Creek. Is that correct? Bill?
Yes, that's correct. And I'll steal Paul Kent's thunder. We had this item here in case there was something worth discussing in this matter, and nothing has happened. So we left it on just in case, but there's no need to go into that closed session.
Yeah. Okay, but first we have to consider and possibly take action on recommendations to the executive director search committee. So I just wanted, before we got into closed session, we can just move directly to B. So we have Janelle Warner here, who's been working with Raf Tellis and myself on the timeline for the December 9th interview. And because it's a timeline, nothing is basically confidential. We're doing that in open session. And when we go into closed session, we'll basically be discussing the questions that hopefully everybody got those questions that I had emailed out that I received from Raf Tellis on, I think it was Tuesday. So Janelle, would you like to go through the schedule, please?
I certainly would, and thank you all for this opportunity. And I know it is a great time of excitement and anticipation for all. I have a few notes up. I'm looking down. I'm a little nervous. All these years of supporting the commission, never really being the person who ever talks. So bear with me. But before I dive into the schedule, I wanted to set the stage a little bit for this conversation. So first, I wanted to let everyone know that I have a background in professional events management, and I'm working with a plethora of really talented staff, commission members, and a consultant on all these details. I say this just to kind of rest all of your minds at ease that everything is moving very quickly, but we are really on track. We are in a really good position. There's nothing that's rattling me. I will say that since the finalist interviews last Thursday, everything's been moving very fast. And as you can imagine, there is a lot of tweaks that are happening just to kind of fine tune things a bit. There's a lot of details to consider, lots of parties that have involvement, and lots of moving pieces from logistics of rooms and setups to how we're going to move bodies around, everything. So with that, I'm telling you that to kind of set the stage that what we're discussing today is more or less a 30,000 foot view. I do have a master schedule, and why I don't want to get into the weeds is because when you do, it gets super confusing when you start talking different needs, because there are different groups that need succinct information for what the needs are for them. So different panels have different needs than maybe people who are assisting the event on that day as far as logistics. So to try to talk about it all could be a little bit overwhelming and confusing. So that is why I'm kind of setting this stage, because what I am offering today is a very 30,000 foot view of what the commission is doing, not every panel that will be in play on that day. But with that, I did write some notes out, which I think will be useful information that's not confidential. Let me just get on to where I'm writing this here. So number one, there's going to be clear and concise communications. Commissioner Havel, myself, and the consultant from Raftelis are working on crafting and getting those crafted messages from the consultants that are going to be going out to the different stakeholder groups. And that will have more information on what to expect, the tone of the day, etc. So those are coming. To be fair, the consultant, Raftelis, Catherine Parrish, is on vacation all this week. So I have many questions out to her, and we have to allow her a little bit of time to kind of catch back up as early as possible next week. And of course, this is moving quickly, but interviews to actually finalize details were just last Thursday, not even a week ago. Okay, so let's get into the commission view of what's happening. So number one, Catherine Parrish has provided draft questions to the commissioners, as Commissioner Havel had stated. That is what you'll be talking about in closed session today. Those are your prep materials for day of interviews. You also, on the day of the interviews, on the 12/9 day, you'll be receiving a packet once you come to the district. Those will be prepped and ready for you as a handout that you will receive. In those packets, you can expect, again, the questions, again, an itinerary of what to expect that day for yourselves. The candidate contents of resume cover letters will again be in there. The first year goals document, building, wayfinding, pretty much everything you're going to need that day will be in a packet that's handed to you. I wanted to tell you that before actually getting into the schedule, because I know that that's a question on mine. Now, there are other people in this meeting today that also have similar questions. You can expect the same thing, that you will be receiving a packet on the day of. I do have questions out to Consultant Parrish, Catherine Parrish, on a couple questions that staff had regarding can they get materials earlier. Again, I don't have answers. I'm waiting to hear back from her. Let's see here. I want to also set the stage that in this whole day of meeting, Catherine Parrish will be present at the district and will be briefing groups every time before you have a meeting. So whether there's questions or you have questions for her, she will be available and be briefing each panel group before they move into part of the process on the day of. Okay, So let's get into the bones. What can you expect as commissioners? You can expect a 7:30 start time on 12/9. The building that you're going to all start at as commissioners will be the operations building. You'll be there for the morning, and what that consists of for you, that is your small group sessions. After your small group sessions are complete, you will have several hours that you can discuss and talk as a commission, and I will be having you move to shop 1. Literally, if you're in group 1, you can be down there from 10:40 until 2:30. And if you're group 2 of our commission, you'll be down there from approximately 11:40 to 2:30. During that time, I will be having food for you for the commission. You will have lunch brought in as well. I should mention, for other people who are present in part of this full day, we are bringing catering in. So please just contact me on the side if you have specific questions. The commission can expect from me today an email with a link so you can pre-order your dinner selection. So that's for 12/9. You are starting, like I said, at 7:30 at the ops. You will have several hours at shop 1 to discuss and have conversations as a commission, have your lunch, have some downtime. And then at 2:30, I have you going back to the maintenance facility. So you literally, as commissioners, will be in all of our inhabitable spaces on the day of. You'll be going to the maintenance facility at the end of the day for full panel commission interviews with each candidate. And your day will conclude on the schedule. As of now, we have 8 p.m. So this will be a very lengthy day for you all and for all involved. And it's just to make sure you have good heads up. Why 7:30 in the morning? 7:30 is when you're going to get your first briefing from Catherine Parrish, and you will be convening in closed session as a group at 7:30 in the morning and being in closed session all day, because all of your discussion is confidential. It is deliberating the candidate. And then you will, at the very end of the day, have a deliberation and discussion session after all the panel interviews, where you will reconvene in open session. And if there's action, I'll be there to take note. So that is, in a very high level, kind of what the process looks like for the commission in the day. I have some notes that I think are good FYIs and that there's a lot of curiosity. So I just kind of want to roll through these a little bit. Related to the schedule, it's worth noting that we do have one internal candidate. That candidate will be touring on 12/6. So we actually saved, which seems like a very long day, but we actually saved an hour because of this candidate touring the Friday before. I discussed kind of what you will be, where you will be moving, but let me also back up and discuss what the whole overall plan is in terms of like, what is the process for the day? Now, I know Commissioner Havel has offered this because we've had this plan in place for some time, but I want to step back and also over that. So from an overall, what is happening in this process? If you were a candidate, the day will start from you except for the internal candidate because they've already previously toured. But if you were a candidate, what the day looks like for you is you will come to the district, you will begin your day with a tour. After your tour is complete, you will be brought to the operations building, where then you have your commission small group meetings. From your small group meetings, you will then move into executive leadership interviews. And from that, you will go to stakeholder panel. I don't know what to call those, I guess interviews. And after the stakeholder panel interviews, you end your day with a full commission interview. Now, I'm saying that very bulleted in a line, but there are breaks and considerations put throughout the day, so everybody is being fed and has some downtime. We have hospitality rooms that we'll be utilizing for our candidates on this day, so they have a private space to have their downtime. And another noteworthy thing is that our approach is a staggered approach for the day. So if candidate 1 starts at 8 a.m., candidate 2 comes behind them at 9. It is our approach and our hope that we are having a day where the candidates are not really crossing paths with each other, and they will never be in a room with each other where you can hear or see each other. So I like to make those things kind of known.
And I want to say that it was at the request of Ref Tellis. So that's why
Yes,
there's so many different rooms being used and things like that, and flipping between buildings, and why the commission and the stakeholder groups change the rooms rather than the candidates.
yes, exactly. So and that is an important note. There are pieces in here where the candidates exactly will be stationed in the room and the parties who interview them will be kind of flowing in and out of the room versus the other way around. So that is a good noteworthy thing. I will also note that each candidate is going to have what I'm calling a shepherd for the day. So each candidate is going to have a hospitality person basically assigned to them. So they don't have to worry about wayfinding or how to get to buildings or rooms. We are going to be shepherding through this process. So it's smooth and comfortable. They are there to interview, not to try to figure out where buildings are. Okay, I still have a few more notes. I'm just trying to see, I think I've covered a lot of this in just my discussion. I believe I've covered most points in just conversation. So like I said, if I was to throw out this master schedule to all of you that I have, so you've seen a kind of a preview of my master schedule. My master schedule is up to 16 pages. I do not want in any way, shape, or form to give all that to you. However, Commissioner Havel on the day of will have a copy of all of that. Catherine Parrish will, and I and members of my staff, since we are the ones moving all the bodies. So I'm not intending to share that with everybody because I think that would be way overkill for what the majority need. I don't think you all need to know what vehicle we're using for tours, etc. I think you need to know as a commission, where do I need to be, what time, and what is the needs of me. And likewise, I'm parsing that out per each panel group. So it's not confusing. And I see Commissioner Meyer has a question.
Wanted to chime in when you're finished. Janelle, great, unbelievable work setting this all up, and great presentation of it this morning. I appreciate the 30,000 foot level. I think it's just right for what we need. I wanted to just add, I've been in on obviously the subcommittee level conversations about this. One note that I can't remember if we've covered it at the whole commission, so I want to bring it up, is we've got managers and executive office level staff, another group of staff, owner community representatives on these panels that Jenna has mentioned. All of those folks are going to feed information back through Catherine. I don't know how, and it doesn't matter to me, that right? I don't need to know how, but that we're going to get that feedback and information loop back from everyone who has an engagement with the candidates that day in time for our late in the afternoon sort of deliberations and discussions and probably decisions, right? I think it's a great piece of this. It's a very all-encompassing sort of process, but I think a really inclusive one. And I'm really proud that we're doing it that way. And so just thought I'd mention that for everybody's understanding that that's the way that with Catherine's and Janelle's architecting of this, that's how we're going to do it. So I think it's going to be great. It's going to be a long day, but I think it's going to be good. And we'll have all the information we can possibly be armed with to make good decisions at the end of the day. So excited for it.
Yes, that is correct. Yes.
Drink some Gatorade, be ready. It's going to be a long day. Stay hydrated.
It is.
Thanks, Janelle.
You're welcome.
Yep,
and
thank
yes,
you very
that is
much,
a great
Janelle.
point to make.
And so
Yes.
the commission will receive kind of that 2-page summary schedule in their packet, right? And
Yes.
that will be more where to be, when to be, and what's occurring.
Yes.
So
And I
anybody
do
else
wanna-
have any questions?
I do just want to confirm for others that are listening that are in similar panels. I will also be pushing that out for those different groups that is aligned with their needs.
Yep.
So each group is going to have what they need.
Yep. Beth,
Okay.
and then Greg.
Hi, thanks, Janelle. This is an amazing amount of work and really appreciate all your attention to detail. I think that the devil is in the details and you're doing a fantastic job. So thank you for that. I do have 2 questions. The first is we start in the operations building, right?
Correct.
So for all the commissioners, we'll get directions to the operations building?
Yes.
Okay.
You will get not only the itinerary for the day, but we are going to be including wayfinding as well. Yes.
Oh, good. And then secondly is what communication has been given to the organization regarding the candidate that we're going to be interviewing, the internal candidate? Does anybody know that yet? And how are we going to keep that? Are we going to try to keep that confidential? What are we going to do about that?
I have given no information. I know that we're stating there's an internal candidate because there's a need to state this. I have a tour happening the week before, and I'm not sharing the name. I just keep saying internal candidate, but I am not that person putting out a communication at our district. I did ask Catherine at what point do we learn the names? And I have questions out to her right now, but she is on vacation. So
Catherine's
I
very
really-
big on confidentiality for these people,
Yes.
even though we're at the point where if asked, we have to provide. But she's asked that if we are asked, we let her know first so she can let the candidates know. But I have asked Catherine when I found out Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember which day, that the candidate could do a Friday, the internal candidate could do Friday, that she then have let the internal candidate know that person's available anytime, so that let Janelle know that so she can schedule the two tour people and get
And I
that.
have
So it'll
scheduled.
probably be next week when they will know who that internal candidate is, since Catherine's on vacation this week.
So,
And
so
I have scheduled the tour guides and had blocks put out there.
yeah, I guess I'm just curious because as soon as the internal candidate does the tour, it's going to be known who that internal candidate is. So are we prepared for some kind of organizational information announcement, or what are we doing about that? Because they're certainly going to know, and I really believe strongly that we should have something to say before this. Otherwise the rumor mills are going to be going.
Well, that's a good question. I can send an email to Catherine Parrish, but I probably won't hear back until next week.
Yeah, I just really feel we should be ahead of the game on that and have some communication available, because it's going to be known.
So Commissioner Hobble, if you are asking Catherine what to communicate,
Yep.
Just let me know if you would like me to push that out to the organization, or if you would like to.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And that's the other thing, Janelle, we ought to, you'll probably be doing all the emails, since there's plenty of emails to our partners that are doing the interviews,
Right.
the stakeholder groups, and that there must be 12 or more of them, I guess.
Yes.
Do you want that under my name or just doing it under your name? You could push out the email, but put my
I
name.
could push the email so it doesn't get lost in their spam, since I've already made connection, but I'm happy to put your email or your name in the email itself.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, I think that would be better than, and we could put both our names as signatories, so to speak.
Can I chime in
Sure.
here, Tom? Building on what you were just talking about and what Beth brought up, I think that for the commission to communicate clearly, really be transparent with staff, the entire staff. Some staff are going to get to meet the three candidates on this day, but not all. But we could be really transparent with staff about the process. I just kind of highlighted a few minutes ago when I had the opportunity here how we are really bringing in an inclusive representation of different interests around the district and outside the district in our orbit into this process. But folks may not know about all that. We've talked about a lot of that in subcommittee meetings, some of it in closed session. And so to just have a pretty, again, sort of like Janelle did today, 30,000 foot level view, but really be transparent with the staff about how we're approaching this hiring process, which is so important for the district, obviously, so many ways, I think would be great. And fits in nicely with sort of the, the trust and trust building mode we find ourselves in right now, right? I mean, that we've been talking about for the last year. So that to me that fits, but Tom, that comes even back to the really minor point of sort of whose name does the communication go out, and I think that it be the the commission that does that communication. Janelle can be involved, obviously, but sort of that it's clear the commission's here wanting to be really open and transparent with staff about the process, how we're going about it, that sort of thing. Feels like the right way to approach it right now.
Yeah,
I agree.
I will try to, if I get time today, I'm going to be out of town Thursday through Sunday. I will try to work up an email and send it to you, Janelle, and send it to Catherine to get her approval.
Sure.
And then that could be sent to all district employees.
Certainly. So I will put that on
I'll keep it very, keep it brief, but let them know that on Monday, those interviews, and they'll see commissioners, particularly in the operations building, and stuff like that, so that kind of then they know what they can expect to see too.
Would you like, I will offer this to Commissioner Havel because I know you will be out of town. I'm still working today. I'd be happy to take a crack at it to kind of pull these interests together and send you something to revise, possibly, just to help you get started.
Yeah, if you want to do that, that'd be fine.
Sure.
Okay, anybody else? Greg, you had a question, or was it answered?
I think it was answered. You guys have covered a lot of ground, so I'm good now. Thank you. I do have just one really trivial question. How do we know, Janelle, are you going to break us up into group 1, group 2 when we arrive that day on our little packet?
Yes, I have it in your schedules that you will be getting emailed to me, so you have a better view. I do have those groups made already. Yes. Commissioner Havel and I sat together after a subcommittee and discussed where he wanted individuals placed.
Ooh, assigned seating. I like it. Okay.
Yes.
Sounds good. Thank you.
You want to go through that now, Janelle? When we prepared that, we were expecting Commissioner Rummel to be participating, but she's got to help assist her mother with a medical issue on that day, so she won't be attending. So would you just like to mention who's in group 1 and group 2?
Certainly. So I have group 1 is going to be Commissioners Havel, Booklin, Murphy, and Pultz. Group 2 will be Commissioners Meyer, Clark, Lytle, and Freeze.
Okay.
I'm also intending, Commissioner Havel, per our conversations earlier this week, to ask Paul Kent to join the executive leadership team in their panel interviews.
Oh, they decided to do that? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
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 Anybody else?
Anybody else?
Yeah, it's Brad.
Go ahead, Brad.
Don't forget to publish the notice for the commission meeting on the 9th.
We already have it. I've met with Vanessa and we worked that all out. So we're good.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's an Uber meeting on this day. It's some kind of other word when we're going 12+ hours.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Okay. Anybody else have any questions on the process for December 9th?
Thank you all.
Thank you, Janelle, very much for all your work. I want to say that Janelle had a different schedule proposed that was a little tighter, but Raftelis wanted each group kind of be segmented by, rather than mixing and matching. So, like one wasn't doing executive interviews with the executive team while another's doing with the stakeholder groups. She wanted it kind of, Raftelis wanted it a certain way, and they've done this enough. They must have their reasons why. So, okay. Thank you very much. That will take us to the executive director's report. Bill?
We have some updates on 2 completed projects and a TFO, but I've asked Eric Dundee to give those since he knows the details.
Okay.
All right, thank you. Eric Dundee, District Principal Engineer, and apologize, my video is not working today. So, three updates, as Bill said. First one is for the West Interceptor Mill Street repair. For those that remember, we had a sinkhole in our interceptor over by the zoo and St. Mary's Hospital. We've completed that sinkhole repair. Was taken care of the second week in November. So all is good there. We will come back and do our final repaving of that space in the spring. But with coordination with city engineering and city traffic engineering for Madison, that's all approved and that plan is taken care of. So it also helps us, just on a side note, for those who know underground repair with sinkholes, it also gives us time to let that ground settle and level that off so that we don't have a future settling issue. So that works out for the best there. Second item is Nine Springs Valley Interceptor. So that's the work over off of 151 where we've had multiple pipe repairs or an ongoing issue. I'm happy to report repair 2 is complete. The final or approximately final price tag for that, we're still finalizing that. Repair number 2 cost $220,000. That was just 1 point repair to get that done. We are still awaiting data back to do the full, we'll call it fix, the couple-year fix of slip lining before we can come back in and reconstruct that area or relocate it. So that data is supposed to be back today or this week so that we know that the ovality of the pipe is enough that we can slide a 36-inch pipe through the existing pipe to keep that open, basically, that we don't know fully how bad that pipe is. So this is to bridge the gap before we do the complete repair there. Third item is a TFO. For those who don't know a TFO, that's a treatment facility overflow. So this is something that happened yesterday. We were doing MetroGrow hauling, and in cold weather, things happen. So on the way back from the farm field, the MetroGrow trailer release valve, the air release vent, froze. So when the operator tried to fill the tank, or the tanker truck, the frozen air relief valve didn't let the air out until there was so much pressure that it did let the air out. So we did spill biosolids. Most of that stayed within our internal system so that it just drained right back to our primary tanks. But we did have about 40 gallons hit the grass near our MetroGrow loadout stations, but that was immediately cleaned up by our MetroGrow staff and the MetroGrow driver. So all that reporting is done and taken care of with the DNR, but just like to keep everybody updated on that. Any questions on those three updates?
Ezra?
With the thanks for that, Eric. With the completion or at least the important milestone on that interceptor project, can we please hereafter refer to it as Theron's successfully managed interceptor repair project to make sure that the proper credit is given for the end point, not the beginning of it? I think in fairness to Theron, that would be the least we could do.
That's very funny you say that. I was purposely not using Theron's name today, but now that you have, yes, it'll be a successful project at the end, Frank.
In a positive way, right? Yep.
Yes.
Thank you.
Theron successfully managed his sinkhole. Okay. Any other questions? Seeing none. Operations report, Alan.
Good afternoon. Or good morning, I should say. I'll be presenting, I'm Alan Grooms, I'm the operations manager for the district, and I'll be presenting the operations report for the month of October, our metrics. So as we approach nearly the end of November, but takes time to get the lab data and everything processed. So this is probably the appropriate time to look back at October. Numbers generally look good. CBD 5, that number was near the bottom of our historical range or past 3 years average. I guess that isn't full historical. Those shaded areas, just a reminder, those reflect the statistical most likely range for the last 3 years running. So if we have consistent higher or lower performance, those will adjust up or down. So, but this is, on the lower end of what our mean is for the last 3 years. Ammonia, a little bit higher than what we typically run this time of year, but still well below our permit numbers at 0.42 milligrams per liter. That's a little bit, we had some tanks down for maintenance, so that pushes the tanks that are in service a little bit harder. So that's primarily attributable to that. Phosphorus numbers a little higher than we typically see this time of year. We had the warmth kind of persist farther into October, and so that's also reflected in the higher solids numbers. We had a little bit more discharge on both of those than typical. Typically, we get a little bit towards the end of summer, we get a little bit harder time settling out those solids due to the denitrification that takes place with the nitrogen coming through the process. And that is something that we're hoping with some of the improvements we get out of liquid processing phase 2 that we can run with a different operating mode that will hopefully knock those nitrates down a little bit. And even though they're not required in our permit, could help show us the way forward for the next 20 years, but also hope to see some improvement with the solids. That's a little bit, we'll be a little bit experimenting on the fly as we get with that, but we're pretty confident that what we're proposing, well, I'm very confident it will work. And we do have a fallback plan on that. So chloride numbers near the bottom of the range, 358, not much we can do about that. And then the fecals a little bit higher than average. We've got a gate that was leaking by just a little bit of what isn't disinfected is a maintenance issue. That issue's fixed. We're waiting for the end of disinfection season, which ends actually Sunday in the wee hours. We'll turn that off and then we can fully cycle those gates. But that little bit through there has been pushed a little bit. We're well below our limits, but we're getting just a little bit into our sample. Couple that with end of season, the lamps are getting, they're ready for a good thorough cleaning and that sort of thing. So normal algae and that sort of thing. So that, I guess, is a 2-minute nutshell of what we did in October. I don't know if any commissioners have any questions or comments.
Alan, just for the new commissioners, could you just go through our former permit limits that we had for disinfection and what they are today and how the DNR extended the window of disinfection? And so that's more operational challenges for us.
Yes, Commissioner Hubble, I could do that. Yeah, and I've tried to I think I'm pretty close to breaking myself of calling it our extended disinfection season, because this is our disinfection season going forward. So it's now, it is what it is. But what Commissioner Hubble's referring to is we previously had our disinfection season was driven April 15th to October 15th. And the disinfection is actually probably the exception. That's the one limit that's actually driven by Badfish Creek. A lot of our other limits are actually dictated by meeting performance limitations for Badger Mill Creek. So many of those cases, if we were only looking at Badfish, it'd be more relaxed. Fecal, the disinfection is the exact opposite because of the recreational uses there with kayakers. That one controls our limit. In I'm gonna have to think about the date. It would be 2021. We, as part of our current permit, that we're in the process of working through the renewal process on that transitioned those dates to that longer disinfection season that starts 1st of March. So additional 6 weeks on the front end, and then goes to 30th through 30th of November. So an additional same amount of time on the back end. So the result of that is we've got December, January, February that we are not required to disinfect. We take advantage of that to do off-season maintenance, things that we really can't do effectively with the channels online for maintenance. This newer system, we could do a lot of maintenance with it online, but not everything. Some things we just have to have. We need to be able to get down in the bottom of the channel. So I don't know if that is quite what you were driving at, Commissioner Hubble, or?
Yes, it is. And the point is that we have maintenance that we have to do now in a more limited time frame. Fortunately, the correspondence of the more restrictive limits also corresponded with our installation of our new UV system, which my understanding is easier to clean and so forth than the old system. So,
yeah, that was at our request when we were setting up that permit, that older system was so maintenance intensive due to its age, and the joke internally was it was obsolete the day we started it up. So it was very difficult. It was, homemade scavenging for parts from other units that were being torn out, or in some cases fabricating parts, having people make cards for us to keep that thing running. So we had a hard time keeping that running. DNR, an agreement looking at what the construction schedule for phase 1 of liquid processing, we agreed to put that on, that was an appropriate time to bring that on, and gave us time to get that newer equipment installed. So.
Okay, thank you, Alan.
I was going to mention quick, we just in case you haven't been out there, Daniel and Patrick, we on a tour, we use UV light for disinfections. Other systems, especially smaller ones around the state, many use chemicals to disinfect and kill off pathogens before the effluent hits the receiving stream. But yeah, and we just made these pretty big investments in this new system in the last few years. When was it, Alan?
I believe this one went on in 2021, March of 2021. So it was part of the last liquid processing phase, and yeah, it's a good system. Allows us to disinfect without the use of chemicals. So.
Well, one thing just to add on to that is we were one of the pioneers in the use of UV disinfection in the nation, I believe, and that was through our arrangements that we've had with the University of Wisconsin and finding better technologies and ways to do things. So that's one of the benefits that we had in working with the UW over the years. And
yeah,
so
this is actually our 3rd generation UV system, and the initial one we put in was actually, it kind of blows my wastewater staff's minds in some respects, that there was an in channel as a completely tube system. It wasn't open channel like what we've got now. That's pretty common in drinking water, but it's really uncommon in wastewater. But the initial systems came out like that, and I was told, Commissioner Hovell, that this was the largest wastewater UV installation in the world at the time it was installed. But
yeah, I remember that too when I first toured the district back in I think my kids were in Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts when I did the first tour of the district in the 90s. Yeah.
Yeah, we forget sometimes how much innovation's really gone on here, how many innovative things. I think sometimes we almost take it a little bit for granted that because we're so used to it, that we don't really think about that some of the things we're doing really aren't that common in the industry. So.
Okay, thank you very much, Alan. Paul, regulatory and legal.
Yes, good morning, commissioners. My name is Paul Kent. I serve as district's legal counsel. I think at the last meeting, when Commissioner Pauls was sworn in, my colleague Vanessa Wishart was there, and we kind of worked together on this. So we try and provide kind of a regulatory update the first meeting of the month, and then kind of a legal services update in the second meeting of the month. So let me start there and just say that the services that we provided in October were again fairly extensive. We had over 76 hours of time on a variety of matters, on a lot of contract issues. There were a number of easements that we worked on. There were some contracts associated with the Madison public market. There were some engineering contracts and professional services agreements we looked at. We were involved in resolving a rental property issue and reached an agreement there. And, with any Clean Water Fund loan, we have to provide a certification of easements and so forth. So we worked on that as well. As you know, kind of as a matter of general work, There were a number of questions that came up in the context of the budget and the transition with the new commissioners. And so we wanted to make sure we could provide timely advice when those questions came up. There was a cybersecurity workshop that we participated in. And then on the regulatory front, there have been a couple of issues associated with the lagoon storage areas in response to EPA. There's continued monitoring that we do with Marty's group on PFAS. And then as a separate matter, there's the work associated with Badger Mill Creek. So while we don't have any regulatory updates, the legislature is not in session. There's nothing pending before DNR on a rules or statutory basis. There is some developments with respect to the lawsuit filed by Verona on the Badger Mill Creek decision. There was a scheduling conference last week that Vanessa attended, and we were admitted as a party, which we had expected. We have a right to participate, but it's always good to make sure that we could be involved. The suit itself, as is standard in all petitions for judicial review, was initiated in this case by Verona, and the primary respondent is the Department of Natural Resources. As the permittee, we have a right to participate, but it's not automatic. So we asked to participate, and that was granted. The other thing that was done was establishing kind of a briefing schedule, and the petitioners' briefs will be due in January. The response briefs, which would be us and DNR, will be due in March, with a reply in April, and a decision would follow. So those are kind of the key dates that we have. And if any of you wants more detail on that, I can certainly provide that.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Any questions for Paul? Okay, that's a thumbs up. Okay, from Ezra. Got it. Okay, so we'll move to closed session. We don't have A, but we do have item B. Do we have a motion to convene in closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statutes 19.85 paren 1 paren C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, and is relating to the 12-9 logistics and interview preparation for the finalist executive director candidates. We have a motion?
I'll move to closed session. This is Commissioner Bookland.
Commissioner
Okay,
Meyer.
motion by Commissioner Bookland, second by Commissioner Meyer to move into closed session. Cassie, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Yes. Commissioner Bookland,
Aye.
Commissioner Clark,
Aye.
Commissioner Freeze,
Aye.
Commissioner Hobble,
Aye.
Commissioner Lytle,
Aye.
Commissioner Meyer,
Aye.
Commissioner Murphy,
Aye.
and Commissioner Pauls.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. So Cassie, do you now move us into the closed session room?
Yes, so all commissioners will be receiving a prompt in just a moment to move to a breakout room. And then directors, if you receive a prompt for some reason to join that room, since we're no longer having that closed session regarding Badger Mill Creek, just decline that prompt to join. So it'll just be one moment, and then we'll be over to closed session.
Cassie, would you like a little assistance? You're on mute, hon.
I'm moving people over just as we
Okay.
speak here. Give me one moment. All right.
President Hubble, just a quick question. I presume that you do not need me for this closed session, but I'm available if you would like me to attend.
Yeah, I don't think we'll need you, Paul. So,
Okay, well, I can be reached by cell if a question does come up, and
Okay.
Feel free to contact me. I'll be at the office.
Okay, thank you, Paul.
Yep.
In room 1.
And Janelle, you wouldn't mind. I am just gonna, yeah, if you wouldn't mind looking in the breakout rooms as well. There's just a couple other folks I'm looking to move over that aren't. Here we go. Room 1. All right, Commissioner Murphy. Okay.
Cassie, do you need me to do anything or you got it?
I think I have it, and Paul, let's see.
So I think Janelle needs to go into the room too, Cassie.
Do you want to be in the room as well? Oh, okay.
Nope. I have Ezra's gonna text me if they need me, so I got that worked out.
Okay, so it looks like they're all there.
Great, and it sounds like, I'm sorry, I missed that, Paul, you don't need to be in the breakout room.
Yeah, he's just gonna he's going to they'll let us know or him know if we need to go there.
Yeah. So
Okay, great.
I've declined, so but I'll be around if something comes up.
Okay, great. So I think we have.
I think they're all set there.
Yeah, I think they're all set. We've got 8 people. Okay, great. All right, I will start sharing.
So Cassie, I'm just letting you know I'm stepping away from my desk for a few minutes. I have my phone with if they do text me, and I'm going to be staying on this meeting in case you need to move me to the room. I'll let you know. Okay?
Okay, sounds great. And then they'll be able to, I believe, freely move back, correct, to when they're finished with the.
Correct. They'll be able.
Okay. Okay, great. All right. Well, thank you for
somebody, Cassie,
Yeah.
Cassie.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to have to tell you, they're going to have to. I'm trying to think who's administering that. How does that work? Actually, I believe they have that option to just return back to the main room, and they do know that. Yes. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
But
So
you
they've
will
done
have
this.
to help move people if they're not familiar with Zoom, like our new commissioners. You might have to move them back into the main room. So just
Correct. And I
FYI.
can just close out the breakout room at that point then.
Correct.
Okay. Great.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Wonderful.
I'll
Thank
be
you.
just away for a few minutes.
Great. And I'll be here just waiting. Commissioner Hubble, I think you're on mute still. Is that okay that
Yeah.
I close the breakout room?
Yeah. I was
Okay.
just trying to count to see if we had everybody back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yes, we do. Okay, Cassie, so we had a motion by Commissioner Clark, second by Commissioner Lytle to go back into open session, and on a roll call vote, all of the members that were present, the 8 of us voted aye on a roll call individual vote. What I will say is the commission reviewed the questions provided by Raftelis for the December 9th interviews and found them acceptable. And so that will conclude our discussion of any items and presentation of any items in closed session. Future agenda topics. One thing I wanted to mention, we had talked about an onboarding discussion on December 19th. We're probably going to, at the request of Mike Lipsky, move that to the first meeting in January. And there's a couple reasons for that. One is we will know, and hopefully by that time, December 19th is given the selection of December 9th, maybe the candidate and then all the background stuff as to who the candidate will be. And that the fact Mike's point is that the onboarding process may be different depending on different candidates who is selected. So that's why we're moving that to the first meeting. I think that's January 16th, if I'm not mistaken. And I suspect that we subcommittee members talked about this a little bit. It was, I can't remember, was there interviews on the 21st, but that we would probably have the subcommittee meeting probably sometime prior to January 16th to delve better into the onboarding process. So I'm thinking it'll probably be in January, not sometime between the 19th and the 1st or 2nd of January, given the holidays that occur there. So I just wanted to mention that.
One thing to add so everyone's aware, we internally staff are developing our own sort of staff-focused onboarding process, which Amy Deming is leading, working with all the directors. So, the routine things like getting them a computer and the more substantive things like departmental briefings, and then we have a schedule for that to sort of ease them in a little bit. So part of the study session that Mike and Amy are planning is to talk about that as well, so that those two things are aligned.
Yep, that's right. Okay, so that takes us any other business?
Tom, I have a question.
Go ahead, Beth.
When is the anticipated start date for the candidate?
Well, I'm thinking that depending on, Raftelis will not do the full background check until after we decide on a candidate. So I'm not sure how long that takes. And then we may have negotiations to do, an offer and stuff like that. So I'm thinking it could be end of January, early February, allowing probably a month or more of lead time to a candidate to give their notice of their current position.
So we're thinking of making the offer maybe like mid-January-ish kind of timing.
I'm thinking before, but we'll have to, and then that's something we can talk about on the 19th. Is do we make an offer at the same time the background check's going on, or before that's something that we'll have to talk about probably as a commission as to what we do.
Okay. Thanks.
Yep. And Paul, I don't know if it'd be possible if Pamela or somebody could be available that evening on the 9th in case we have any questions.
Yes, Vanessa and I are working with Pam on that, and we'll see what we can do to nail that down.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry to have it in the evening, but if we have any questions arise, it'd be nice to be able to contact her. Yeah.
Of course. Yep.
Okay. So I'm going to get my screen shut down here. So any other things? If not, do we have a motion to adjourn?
So move, Tom. Commissioner Clark.
Motion by Commissioner Clark, second by?
I'll second Commissioner Bookland.
Second by Commissioner Bookland to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
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 And opposed, none. One thing I want to say is from here on out, I think most of our meetings will be in person. Given the fact that, hopefully in later January and February and March, we'll have a new executive director. And I think we need to build that rapport with the new executive director. So expect most of our meetings here on out to be for a while to be in person.
That starts in January though, right, Tom? The 19th of December is to be virtual, isn't it?
No, I don't think
Or
so.
no, we'll start there. Okay, we'll start there
I
with
think the
the in-person
19th
meeting.
is because we have Badger Mill Creek presentation that day. So I
Oh,
think that's
right.
better.
Definitely a good reason to be. Okay, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
They're
Good.
presenting the projects that we might fund or could fund.
We just have the one meeting, one commission meeting in December. We don't have a second one at the end of the month, given holidays.
That's correct. For the new commissioners, we've historically only had one commission meeting in December, so it's kind of doesn't fit the normal schedule of the last Thursday and the Thursday 2 weeks before that. So it kind of fits between the two. Okay. So happy Thanksgiving to everybody, and the motion carried to adjourn. So enjoy
Have a good weekend, everybody.
Yep.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving.
Likewise.